And we are live on a Saturday evening. I gotta say, a beautiful Saturday evening in the nation's capital. And look, it's been a long time since I've done a BRAP rant, and hey, just wanted to do one. When the mood strikes me, I like to do them kind of impromptu, and the mood has struck me. You know, this is I wanted to discuss this topic because it's something that's kind of come up more recently on Twitter. And typically, when I do these rants, I'll typically, uh, what's up, J Street? J Street's in the live chat. Good to see you, man. So typically, when I do rants, it could be things that I've read or on the internet, or maybe something that I saw on Twitter. And look, God of War, the reviews for God of War just came out this week. And Sony, it's funny, the game doesn't come out till next Friday, and we got the reviews on Wednesday. And boy, the reviews have been stellar. This game is a masterpiece. And look, you can try to downplay it, but there's a consensus out there that this game is a masterpiece if you read the reviews. It's look, you can sit there and say, oh, this game isn't for me. It's not, it's a change from the original God of War, and that's fine. It's your prerogative. But without playing it, I think it's hard to completely write this game off. But if you just take what the reviews have said, if you take everything at face value, this, by all stretch of the imagination, this game is a masterpiece. The consensus among reviewers is that it's a masterpiece. What's up, Saltiest Gaming? So and this conversation or the reaction to God of War this week has kind of raised eyebrows or raised questions as it relates to Microsoft. Now, look, this rant isn't a bash Microsoft Xbox podcast type thing. We don't do that here, but here at BRAP, we do keep it on 100. We do try to we don't try to sugarcoat things. What's up, Irrelevant? What's up, Envy of Astora? Some folks are starting to trickle in here in the live chat. So yeah, we don't try to sugarcoat stuff. We call it as we see it. Myself, Eric Jackson, B Money, Mr. Negative. We've always called things out, whether it's Nintendo, whether it's Sony, whether it's Microsoft. And it just so happens that Microsoft, when it comes to first party games, has been very deficient this console generation. In all reality, like it's been a conversation that people have been having back and forth, I think, for the last 5 years about their first party output. And if you look at, and part of why I wanted to do this podcast tonight is because I don't know if you guys saw what Ryan McCaffrey said, basically, and I'm paraphrasing, that saying, hey, Xbox fans are dying to get a masterpiece like God of War. And, in all fairness, so it's taken Sony 10 years to get here. And yeah, in some extent, it's taken Sony 10 years to get here. Sony really poo-pooed things last console generation after coming off the extraordinarily successful PlayStation 2 platform. They came into E3 announcing the PlayStation 3 and just totally dropped a shit bomb, and just really put themselves in a bad situation. And but Sony had never really lost sight of the ultimate goal, I don't think, and that was that it's all about games. It's all about games. What's up, Punkiddish? It's all about games. Console gaming has always been about games. Exclusives do matter. I see people saying, oh, well, they don't matter as much because people mostly buy third-party titles. Yes, 90% of the consumer base, the casual consumers, the ones who, take these consoles to the next stratosphere where they're selling 70, 80 million, 90 million. Those casual gamers, yes, they're probably buying mostly third party. They're buying Madden. They're buying Call of Duty. They're buying Battlefield, Battlefront, GTA. They may be buying Red Dead Redemption 2 when that comes out. And yes, some do buy some of the exclusives that we see on the platforms like Zelda, Mario, Halo, Gears, Uncharted, and so forth. So FIFA, thank you, J Man, FIFA. And Sony, yeah, but Sony still focused on games, even though they poo-pooed the pooch and back in 2006 at E3, they still focused on content. They focused on developing games. And if you look at towards the end of the PlayStation 3, look, they released a masterpiece of The Last of Us. I mean, The Last of Us is one of those iconic games that, wow, just left me speechless. A game that I still think about today. When a game can leave an impression on you like that, it's a masterpiece, just like movies, just like literature, just like music. And it doesn't, it's not easy to do by any stretch of the imagination. It takes a lot of investment. It takes a lot of creativity. Salty says it seems like the big three have had its ups and downs, all of them each gen. That's true. They all have, but there's one consistent that I'll say that differentiates Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft. I'll say that Sony and Nintendo, despite their ups and downs, have put out better first party content, despite their ups and downs. And so Ryan McCaffrey tweets this out, about Xbox fans are dying, and Phil Spencer chimes in and says, our hardware took time, our service platform backwards compatibility took time, and continue to grow our first party will take time. A high quality, diverse first party, yes, with single player, built the right way is our goal and what our customers deserve. We can have similar results to what we've seen in hardware and platform. I just want to say something in regards to the hardware piece. The Xbox One X was greenlit in 2012. And so that was already in motion. And so I don't know what he's getting at there. Look, the only thing I can take away from that is at the end of the day, the hardware folks aren't making games. Backwards compatibility, the people that are engineering that aren't making games. Microsoft has not really done a good job investing in first party, and the level of mismanagement from games like Scalebound to Fable Legends, or to Fable. I'm speechless. And when God of War came out, and I started reading the reviews, and I started thinking to myself, damn it, like why can't Microsoft have a masterpiece like this? And it's not for bragging purposes to go out there and say, oh yeah, look at the Xbox has the best single player exclusive out right now. No, it's not about that. For me, it's about, damn, they got this powerful console out in the market right now, the beast, if you will. Let's put out some new shit. Let me see what this thing's capable of outside of Halo. Like, I've had that WoW experience with Halo, and look, I understand some people are new to this. I'm not. I've been on the Xbox. I've been invested in the Xbox ecosystem 16 years now. I was an Xbox Live beta tester. I helped build Xbox Live, and that's not an exaggeration. They used to send us emails. They used to send us surveys. They used to ask us for specific feedback. They used to ask us for things that we wanted included in Xbox Live. And some of those things they implemented into Xbox Live. Some of the things that we see today were things that we suggested as beta testers. And if I'm critical for Microsoft and their lack of first party exclusives, it's not because I'm whining per se. I've seen that out there. You know that, oh, people are whining about first party. If they're not happy, they should sell their Xbox. Well, why should we sell our Xbox if I've been invested in this ecosystem 16 years? I'm not going to just sell my Xbox right away. I have a lot of time and money invested into this ecosystem. I'm just not going to walk away that quickly. Some will. I'm sure if had I, just gotten into the Xbox ecosystem this console generation, shit, I'd probably be gone by now. I would have been like, you know what, fuck it, I'm out. J Street says, can you imagine what Sony would do with the X's power with first party games? Yeah, I think about that a lot. I mean, I have Horizon Zero Dawn on base PlayStation 4 with HDR enabled. Oh my God. The game looks phenomenal. I've been playing Bloodborne, another exclusive Sony PlayStation 4 game. Game looks phenomenal. And that's the point of first party titles, is that they take advantage of the hardware. They're the best looking games for your on your console. They're often the best games overall on the console. They first party exclusives are kind of the showpiece. So, when I see Phil say these things, yeah, Saltius, I know Bloodborne's not first party. I was just giving an example of an exclusive game that looks good on PlayStation 4. But when I see Phil out there saying our hard work took time, I mean, come on, Phil, that you guys greenlit that in 2012. The folks that are behind backwards compatibility, they're not developing games. Uh, and it's just always this wait and see, always just wait and see with Phil and Microsoft now. Wait till E3. Wait, wait till we see. We know we listen to our fans. We know first party is important. Salty said 2012 numbers coming from Randall Thor, who mentioned it. That it was in development prior. It was greenlit prior to the OG Xbox. You feel free to DM Salty. Feel free to DM Rand as well, man. And I would trust Rand as a source too, Salty, considering the people that he knows at Microsoft. No, I know he doesn't work for Microsoft. Sorry, guys, I'm having a conversation with Salty's Gaming in the chat, but no, Salty's. I understand Rand doesn't work for Microsoft, but Rand's a pretty good source, man. I wouldn't. He's not going to like lie or make something up like that. That's just not. If you know Rand, that's not him. He wouldn't do that. Um, definitely feel free to DM and ask him about it. So, well, again, Salties, he's getting his info from people at Microsoft. So I'm gonna and I've heard that too from other. Actually, you know what? Not just Rand. Now I think about it, I've heard it from other people, other industry insiders, if you will, who I trust, um, who don't typically spill information like that unless they're 100% certain. So, um, look, I've just gotten to the point. Saltiest. I'm not okay. So look, Rand doesn't typically put out stuff that typically isn't true. And if he's unsure about it, he'll tell you. He'll say, "Look, I've heard it, but I'm not 100% sure. This is a 100% sure thing." And you got to remember, if you think about R&D, with regards to hardware, this thing wasn't put together, 2000, 2016. So, Salty's definitely DM Rand. That's all I can say, man. DM him. It came up in a conversation we were having once. So, I would DM him, just ask him about it. Um, so I look at the end of the day, I just I've gotten to the point where um I've been in the ecosystem 16 years now, and look, it's crazy. Like I see people, saying things like, "Well, stop whining, sell your box if you're not happy," and that's not the point. Like, I think it's time for us to have an honest conversation here and point out, look, this is their weak point. First party is Microsoft's weak point. This is an area where they're struggling. They haven't had good exclusives this console generation. Even some of their second party stuff. Well, outside, I think of outside of Sunset Overdrive, everything else has been subpar. I think the best game that they put out from an exclusive perspective has been Forza, but Forza's a racer. Although, despite being Forza Racer, I would say it's the one masterpiece that they have this console gen. But they're like into number 8 in the iteration of the Forza series. And so I think it's okay. Like, it's okay for people to demand more from Microsoft. It's okay for people to demand more for Xbox. You paid, you've invested in this ecosystem. There's nothing wrong with asking for more. And I keep seeing people say, "Stop whining, you know, just wait till E3." I mean, how many more E3s do we have to wait till? They unless they've acquired new studios, or they're building studios, I, I don't see them coming out with anything else right now. I mean, I don't see them really doing anything different. When what Phil is saying to me is just words. I mean, we got to remember something. I mean, Phil has to answer to a board of directors. They're a publicly traded company. Phil is the salesman for the Xbox. He's going to say what he needs to say, for marketing purposes, for sales purposes. He's going to say, he's not going to come out and say, "Hey, you know what, guys? Look, we fucked up. We haven't been investing in first party studios, so we're probably not going to put out some new AAA IP content. Sorry." No, he's not going to come out and say that because he has systems to sell. And look, by all stretch of the imagination, the Xbox is doing well, in part because of the success of the 360 and people being invested in that ecosystem. They're doing well in that regard. But as gamers, it's okay. It's okay to sit there and say, "Hey, you know what, guys? Um, I have an Xbox One X. I love the way multiplats look on this thing, but damn, Microsoft should really step up with the first party stuff." I mean, it's okay. I mean, and it's okay to, as a consumer, to voice this opinion. This thing of that we can't be critical. We can't offer constructive criticism because it's considered whining. That's damage controlling. Let me tell you something, guys. The damage control that I've seen with here's the thing. So, Sea of Thieves. If you like Sea of Thieves, great. If you have fun with it, great. But there's a difference between liking it and damage controlling on behalf of the game. And we got to stop damage controlling. Damage controlling is anti-consumer. it hurts the brand more than it helps. And for those of you that are out there damage controlling, you guys are only hurting yourselves. You guys are only hurting the brand because what you're saying is, hey, you know what? This is okay. I'll take a game that's not finished. Again, I'm not saying that if you have fun with Sea of Thieves that's damage controlling. No, that's not damage controlling. But when I see people and I hear people say, "Oh, well, they didn't finish the Kraken because how fun would that be?" They're just going to finish it as it goes. I'm like, are you serious? Are you kidding me? This is where we're at now, where uh, the Kraken in a video game, I guess a boss encounter, if you will, isn't complete, and we're saying, hey, you know what? It's okay because they'll fix it down the road. That's not okay. That's not okay. And that's look, and that has nothing to do with you having fun with the game. But the damage controlling it's just got to stop. When you start calling people whiners for voicing their opinion. All right, so Saltiest Gaming, if you're still in the live chat, Ryan Landis says gaming look up the origins of Xbox One X with Microsoft's Albert Pinello from the show Unlocked. He confirms the 2012 green light. So there you go. So I don't know if you're still listening, Saltiest, but Ryan Landis just confirmed it. That Albert Pinello confirmed it on Unlocked 2012 Greenlight, which is what Rand had mentioned too. So that's what I'm saying. When Phil talks about getting the hardware straight, they started working on that in 2012. So I'm not buying that. I'm not going to subscribe to that. That's spin, and I understand that's what he has to do because he has to sell consoles. But I'm not buying that. I'm not buying these corporations. At the end of the day, are here to make money. And so we have to take whatever they say with kind of a grain of salt. Um, so OBJ Don says my son doesn't really care about exclusives, but he wants Spider-Man. So look, I just you can go back to what Phil said in response to Ryan McCaffrey. Um, to me, it's like, look, we spend money into this ecosystem. We deserve a masterpiece, a God of War, a game that takes advantage of the hardware from Microsoft's Xbox One X or whatever the case is, and these issues that they've had. This you look if we're being real, I mean, Microsoft hasn't had a masterpiece, a new masterpiece since. And I mean new, like new IP since Gears of War. And Gears of War is not even a first party game. Well, it is now because they bought it from Epic. But if you want to go first party, you'd have to go back to Bungie with the OG Xbox and Halo. That's a long time. It's a long time. And here we are in 2018, and we have Sony and Nintendo that are just dropping just great content, exclusive content. And look, it begs the question: why can't we see the same on Microsoft's side? Nintendo's doing it. Sony's doing it. Shit. I mean, we just want a roadmap from Microsoft. We kind of have a roadmap from Sony on the PlayStation 5 already. And you may be thinking, well, what do you mean, Enrique? How do we have a roadmap for PlayStation 5? Sony's opening up a new studio to support the PlayStation 5. Look, folks, exclusives matter. And this console generation, people are going to go back and they're going to talk about the games that they most remember and majority of those games are going to be on PlayStation 4 and probably Nintendo Switch. And that's a shame. That's a shame because Microsoft has a great platform right now with the Xbox One X. It's a shame. And I'm going to take a sip of my beer real quick. Some guy says, I want Crackdown 3. I think a lot of us want Crackdown 3. But who knows? I don't know. I'm not so sure about that game anymore, to be honest with you. But it isn't like, look, guys, this isn't this rant isn't meant to be console wars. It's not, uh, meant to, champion Sony, Nintendo as being better than Microsoft. Microsoft does do some really good things in terms of services and features, value added features specifically for Xbox One owners. But look, they got to step it up, and the damage controlling has to stop people. It's okay to sit there and say, hey, you know what? I enjoy my Xbox, but geez, their first party output just sucks balls. It just does. I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, but I've gotten to the point where I'm just like I'm just done. I'm just done. I really want them to see. I really want to see them really step it up and invest in some first party. I don't look. I Halo 5 was great. Halo 5 was great. It was a good game. It wasn't the best of the Halo franchise. Well, I would probably argue that the multiplayer is probably the best since Halo 2. Um, but yeah, I mean, Gears was good. It wasn't a masterpiece, but it was good. But geez, I mean, let's think about this, guys. I mean, what? I mean, I don't know how many of you guys have. No, J Street. I have not played Super Lucky Tales. Um, but like, I wonder, I wonder if everyone in the live chat, if you guys own multiple consoles, I want you guys to list the best games that you played this console generation. I'm just curious. I'm just curious. And somebody just mentioned in the live chat, the Trillis said Super Lucky Tales isn't Cameo or Vivo Pinata. So look at Rare. I mean, Rare hasn't been Rare. I mean, it isn't the same Rare that Microsoft purchased back in 2003. And Microsoft has mismanaged Rare for quite some time, having them work on the Kinect, which was terrible. Just terrible, terrible. They just basically threw all that talent out the window to support that peripheral device that it didn't even work out anyway. Um, but I mean, look at Rare. I mean, like the 360. I mean, they were dropping like first party stuff from Rare, Perfect Dark, Viva Pinata. There were just so many good games that were coming out. And look at the partnerships they were forming. They had um, Lost Odyssey on there as an exclusive. They had the first Mass Effect as an exclusive. They had The Witcher 2 as an exclusive. They had so many great games on the 360. But then it's like mid-gen through the 360, they start relying on marketing deals of Call of Duty. They start focusing solely on Gears and solely on Halo. We aren't seeing those newer exclusives come out. And this is where you see the difference between Microsoft and Sony. Sony's focused on newer content. They put out The Last of Us, the Uncharted series. We get Infamous. And I mean, it's just the foundation is laid there. Fax Machine says, you need to face that Xbox will never catch up to Sony first party wise. I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily believe that. I think they can. But they need to make a committed investment into doing so. Never say never in this industry, Fax Machine. They could decide to really invest in first party, and they may be doing it behind the scenes now. Who knows? But this whole thing of, oh, wait 3 years, games take time to develop for 3 years to develop. I'm sorry, I'm just not buying that anymore. I'm just done. That's not acceptable. We're 5 years into the console gen now. This is when systems really start kind of like you know uh kind of spreading their legs, if you will. That's a terrible analogy, but um getting their feet under them is probably better. They start getting their feet under them, and you start seeing all these bangers come out, all these exclusives come out. We're starting to see that now. I mean, look at Jesus, look what Sony is getting this month. They're getting God of War, they're getting Detroit, they're going to get Spider-Man later on in the year. Now, we obviously haven't read any reviews with Detroit, but there's some pedigree there with David Cage and his group. Um, if you like those types of games, there's definitely some pedigree behind Insomniac. So Insomniac is behind Spider-Man, and you got to believe that that game's, given Insomniac's track record, it's probably going to be really good. Jason just mentioned Yakuza 6. I mean, like those are the kind of games that would have been on the 360 last console generation. It's I look, I just, again, this isn't to this isn't a trash Microsoft type thing. This is a, hey, let's just have an honest conversation here, guys. Let's just let's just be real. They are lacking in first party. Halo isn't Halo anymore. The advantage that Microsoft had when they could release the original Xbox Live, the 360 early on, is that they were kind of the only players in the town. You know, then Call of Duty dropped, and took off. Battlefield, and they started seeing competition in the multiplayer market. And I think they've really focused so much on Xbox Live, which they should, but you got to do both. You got to do both, and Sony's doing both right now. Now we can sit here. People are going to argue, oh well, PlayStation Network always goes down, and Xbox Live is better. Look, I've been on both Xbox Live and both PlayStation Network. In my opinion, both are fine. I can't sit there. I mean, PSN has come a long way. I can't sit there and say that it's dog shit compared to Xbox Live, because it isn't. That hasn't been my experience with it. But look, gamers, it's just time to have an honest conversation. It's time to just demand more from Microsoft's first party, from the Xbox. And there's nothing wrong saying that. There's nothing wrong voicing your opinion. I think to the detriment of Phil and Aaron and all those guys, I think it's great they interact with the community, but I think everyone, and there's certain people that probably think that these guys are their friends, and therefore they don't want to voice their opinions to Phil or Mikey Barr or Aaron, because they don't want to lose them as friends or Twitter followers. Look, those guys aren't paying my bills. Those guys aren't putting money in my pockets. I'm not shilling for any corporation. This is a business relationship, people. This is a business relationship. This ain't about friendship or feelings. That's the other thing. People have their feelings too much in this. It's plastic boxes. It's console gaming. It should be fun. Get a little bit of feedback here. Sorry about that, guys. Let's get a little feedback. All right. Hold on, guys. I'm getting. All right. Sorry about that. I was getting a little bit of feedback. J3 says Microsoft has everything better than Sony. I love the controller. I like their bosses, Phil, Mike, John, good guys. The only thing they're lacking is first party games. That's it. Yeah, I look. I feel the same way you do, J Street. I'm not so sure that I necessarily believe in Phil or some of the leadership there anymore. I think it's probably time for a change. Those guys have been there for a long time, and look, uh, the proof's in the pudding. Look at the results. And in business, you can only judge someone's work by the results, and that's it. Um, and yeah, but you're right, J Street. They have the best hardware out right now. They have the best controller. They have the best services. It's time to tie all that shit together. But I just have the sinking feeling that they're not going to. That they're just going to give more lip service. Look, PUBG was a what's up, Ashen? The Ashen Luca. Where's my mod status? Oh my god, you are funny. Oh my goodness. All right, hold on here, Luca. There you go, Luca. Now you're a moderator. Boom. Asking you should receive, Luca. All right. So where was I? There you go, Luca. You're a mod now. So yeah, I'm not convinced that it's going to be they're going to change. I just I just don't see it, guys, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but people are starting to feel this way now, and people are starting to feel this way because of what they're seeing on the PlayStation side of things, what they're seeing with Nintendo, and it's not. There's nothing wrong with pointing that out. Look, their quality of content just hasn't been great for Microsoft this gen. And look, guys, I'm just gonna be honest. Like this is gone. This issue started back probably the days during the original Xbox. And here's the other thing too. Like people don't realize this. Like for a lot of us that were day one on the OG Xbox, we saw Microsoft be really aggressive with exclusive content. In part because they had to be, because they were still developing relationships with third party developers at the time, and it was an uphill battle for Microsoft. It wasn't by any stretch of the imagination easy for them to do what they did. um, but that's why a lot of us are critical. I would even argue that I think the people that have that bought in early on, back in 2001 2002, they're the harshest critics of Microsoft today, because they have seen how aggressive and how good Microsoft can be when they put their head to this. I mean, you look at like some of the exclusive content they had. I mean, they had Halo, they had Mechasalt, they had Crimson Skies. We could joke around about Brute Force. Brute Force was an average game, probably would have benefited from being a co-op on Xbox Live, but came out before Xbox Live went live. And I mean, God, look what they did with the if you guys remember the Xbox Sports Network, I even talk XSN. I mean, that was great that they put that together. They had Links Golf, which was an exclusive, which was, I mean, at the time, the best golf game that you could buy on any platform. Um, NFL Fever wasn't that great for an NFL game, but look what they did. I mean, they had Ninja Gaiden as an exclusive. I mean, they had Jade Empire as an exclusive. They had Knights of the Old Republic as an exclusive. They had um, the Elder Scrolls Morrowind as an exclusive, and they had some really solid. They had some bangers on that console. They laid down a solid foundation. Now, in part, they did benefit from Peter Moore leaving. So, with Peter Moore, leaving Sega. Well, after Sega went under with the Dreamcast, and they did benefit from getting some of those Dreamcast games as exclusives on the OG Xbox. But I mean, come on. If you think about it like this, they're in a better position today than they were when the OG Xbox came out. They should have better exclusive content now. Should have better relationships. stronger relationships, and the first party content should be better. John, no, Yoshida is not my Lord and Savior. Sorry, buddy. J Tree says I did like Quantum Break, but the final boss was ass though. Yes, the final boss battle in Quantum Break was terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. It was one of the worst boss battles ever. So anticlimactic. I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. Envy says Ninja Gaiden 2 was an Xbox 360 exclusive. Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, and so for a lot of us that were there from day one, this is the part that frustrates us. This is why we're vocal. It's not that we're whining or complaining or we're bitching, or we're being haters. Nah, we're being consumers. That's what this is all about. That's what this is all about. It's about being a consumer. It's about voicing your opinion when you're not happy about something. Now, that's not to say that, when I say voicing your opinion, you're not happy. Obviously, I'm not talking about console warring and fanboys. That's just being an idiot. It has nothing to do with, offering constructive criticism or anything of that nature. So I don't want to get I don't want people to confuse the two because they're totally different things. Luke, are you still in the live chat? She's not answering. I'm waiting for her to answer. Anyhow, so look, I mean, this is if I look at it like this, like to what Ryan McCaffrey said, to his point of Xbox fans dying for a masterpiece like God of War. I don't know if they're dying. I mean, I can't quantify that. I can't sit there and say, oh well, you know, 80% of the install base is dying. But I guarantee you what, if God of War, this God of War, was an exclusive on the Xbox One X, woo, people would be mad hyped. People would be dancing in the streets. Xbox owners. And I would bet a good bit of them would probably be just happy because they'd have this game that took advantage of the hardware and was given that love and that treatment that first party exclusives get and was made to perfection. Ryan Lennon says, so you're not ready for the pony orientation class tonight. Free coffee. No. Look, man, I play all the consoles. I go where the games are. I'll bounce around a little bit between Xbox, between PlayStation, between Nintendo Switch. Just depends what I'm playing. Like right now, I'm playing Quantum Break, or not Quantum Break, Bloodborne, which is a fucking awesome game. Yeah, J Street. They could have built something off of Rise or Quantum Break. Although, I don't think. Well, I don't think I should say. Um, Remedy doesn't want to make, or is not looking to do another exclusive for the Xbox. Their next game is going to be multi-plat. But like a game like Rise is an example of a game that, look, give it another shot. I mean, why not? And I think that's the biggest difference between, Sony um, and Microsoft. And make no mistake, what Sony is doing isn't easy. It takes a lot of investment. But I will say this: I think the advantage that Sony has, and it's funny because I see people especially with console warring, I see people say, "Well, Microsoft's $1 billion company, and they make more money than Sony does, and blah 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 blah." And I'm like, yeah, that's true, but the Xbox division isn't the big, $450 billion beast that Microsoft is. It's part of it, but it's not the entire equation, And so Phil doesn't have that budget. He doesn't have an open checkbook to go out and do those things or buy studios like that or invest that kind of money. But Seamus Blackley, who I did a podcast with, even said this I was on a podcast with him and the guys over at Super Deformed Gamescast, and he said to us, the difference between Microsoft and Sony is that Sony has been in the entertainment business doing movies and music, so they have a better understanding of the creative process. They're more willing to take creative chances and to give people, their developers, the freedom and time to make the kind of games they want. Now, I know Microsoft isn't an entertainment company, but Phil, I gotta believe, Phil, if you know people in the industry, I gotta believe that at some point you can give your folks some kind of creative freedom. They had it with Bungie. Bungie wanted to make Destiny as an exclusive for the Xbox. They teased Destiny and Halo ODST. Microsoft said no. We see what happens with Bungie, but I guarantee you, had people always talk about 2013, the power narrative, and that's the reason why Microsoft's in the position that they're in. No, Microsoft is not the position they're in because of the power narrative. They're in the position they're in because they released an overpriced console, had muddy messaging, and were $100 more than the competition and less powerful. So anyhow, I digress. But you got to believe like that. Phil knows people in the industry. He knows what Sony's doing, and I'm not saying that they need to be like Sony. But Christ, man, just invest in some first party, dude. You guys have the most powerful box. Don't leave it up to third party developers to use that box how they see fit. I mean, they're not going to get all the juice out of the box the way your internal first party studios would. Look, and that's not to say that third party's done a bad deal or done a bad job with the Xbox One X. Look, I mean, Far Cry 5 looks fucking awesome. Some of the enhanced 360 games like The Witcher 2 and Red Dead Redemption look really good. But I tell you what, guys, they're going to be in the same position next console gen. If Sony's already opening a studio to support the PlayStation 5, I mean, I don't see this thing getting any better for them on a first party perspective. I think they'll do well next console generation. I think again you'll have people that will stay in the ecosystem. But look, guys, at the end of the day, if we're not going to sit there and demand better, if we're going to damage control, if we're going to make excuses, they're not going to get better. They're not going to get better. And that's kind of the whole point of this rant, that it's okay at the end of the day to demand better. It's not whining, but damage controlling does more harm to the brand than it does help. I'm telling you, I don't know I'll never forget when I heard that cracking comment and I almost lost. I just shook my head. I couldn't believe what I just heard. Ghost of Tsushima, Detrilis is what you're talking about. Ghost of Tsushima will be a PS5, will be a PlayStation 5 exclusive, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see The Last of Us 2 running on the PlayStation 5. Matt Piscatella, by the way, is predicting MPD. We've had him on the show. He's predicting 2020 as the launch year for both the PlayStation 5 and the next Xbox. And hey, Corey Dillon, what's up, man? I'll tell you right now, guys, I'm already planning on buying a PS5. I'm not buying the next Xbox day one just yet. I need to see that roadmap. I need to see that. And I tell you what, Phil, if you go out there and you parade third party games on at E3 this year and you don't show us a roadmap, uh, that's you're going to have a lot of unhappy gamers in the Xbox community, and not because they're being fanboys or they're being whiners, but because they're consumers. They're consumers. So you say you listen to the community, but the community's been talking about first party content for years now, and you guys haven't delivered. And a lot of people don't want to hear this, but look, Phil may be a nice guy, but look what happened with Scalebound. That project was mismanaged. They weren't hitting milestones. But who's the head of the studio, or the at the end of the day the PM on that? Phil was. Look what happened with Fable. Got canned, and it's funny because the folks at Lionhead are saying the game that Turn 10's working on now, the new Fable game, is the same concept that was pitched to Microsoft originally, and Microsoft said no. So there's examples here, guys, of mismanagement and poor decisions when it comes to exclusive content. And nobody wants to talk about that, but you should talk about it because it impacts you as a consumer. J Street says the PlayStation 5 better be backwards compatible. I agree, man. I agree. I Chris Jones, I don't agree with your roadmap going down the Dreamcast road. Um, that comment just shows me that you don't know anything about what really happened with the Dreamcast. So if you're gonna make comments like that, at least try to know what you're talking about. Um, but yeah, J Street, I agree with you. PlayStation 5 should be better be backwards compatible. It needs to be. It needs to be. I think that's a bad look if Sony doesn't do backwards compatibility. Sony needs to do backwards compatibility. So, um, what is the Trillist here? I'm just trying to read what you just said here. The Trillist. Give me a sec here, man. Well, Sony makes Ghost and Last of Us 2 day one exclusive for PS5. I'm gonna have to pick one up day one. Yeah, I'm pretty much. Hey, Slomo, what's going on, man? I'm pretty much. We don't know. I don't know shit about the PS5, but I'm leaning towards buying one. And so here's the thing. Like, this is what people don't realize. Like, Microsoft hasn't released a defining exclusive since Gears of War last console gen. A new and so when people sit there and say, "Oh, exclusives don't matter," no, they do to an extent because a game like Horizon Zero Dawn, you know what the net effect of Horizon Zero Dawn is outside of bringing people into Sony's ecosystem is the net effect to Horizon Zero Dawn is that it has sold PlayStation 5s already without Sony releasing the PS5. And you're probably sitting there saying to yourself, "Well, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean they've sold that game has sold PlayStation 5s?" Well, let me tell you. You know that they're working on a sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn, right? That's happening. And people are going to buy PlayStation 5 or in their minds have made up their minds already that they're going to buy PlayStation 5 to play the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn 2. Hey, what's up, Jay Fonz? And so that's what's going to happen. That's the net effect. And we haven't had a game like that. Name a game on the Xbox One that's going to make you say, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to go out and buy the next Xbox 2 or whatever the hell it's going to be called." Name a genre defining game or a masterpiece, so to speak. You can't name one. When you bought the OG Xbox, you bought the 360 because you knew you were going to play Halo 3. When Gears of War came out, well, actually, I shouldn't say just Halo on the OG Xbox. And when Forza dropped on the original Xbox, you were looking to buy games like Forza, Halo. You're looking to buy those games. You're looking to buy the 360 because of those games on the original Xbox. OG Xbox drops. Halo's still good. Halo 3 and 4. Gears of War drops. and now you're buying an Xbox One for probably for Gears. But they haven't put anything out like that this console generation. And I can think of 2 games where Sony's done that. Horizon Zero Dawn and possibly depending on how good it is, Spider-Man, but also from a second party perspective, Bloodborne. So this is like, and this is the part that kills me. It's like this is the thing. These are the things that we need to address. These are the things that we should be vocal about instead of like fighting and damage controlling. Jay Fon says, I don't think we'll see Microsoft's HCD until next gen. Yeah, I hope so, but I'm telling you, Jay Fons, I'm not convinced. I'm not. What studios do they have right now? You know, I do think Fable will come out next console gen. I don't see Fable coming out this gen. But Fable isn't a new franchise. Fable isn't a new franchise. So, Slow Mo Black says Sony also went in on MS claiming charging for online services wrong than they did themselves. You can't believe everything the company says. Yeah, Slow Mo, that's a great example of not believing everything companies say. Look, they got shareholders to answer to. They have to they got consoles to sell. They have a product to sell. They're out there hustling. So, hey, Jay Fonz, man, I gotta say it's been great doing have the opportunity to do 2 podcasts with Jay Fonz. Really, Mark Iglesias says Zaire said I bet on the wrong horse this generation. We actually had Zaire on a couple weeks ago. He was a great guest. Definitely, it was really interesting getting his perspective on Microsoft. But look, and the other thing too is the dude says, Enrique, do you ever take a break? You're a machine, bro. Great stuff as usual, dude. Just sitting here working on stuff, listening to your slutty baritones. Thank you, the dude. I appreciate that, man. I don't do as many rants as I'd like to be honest with you. Jay Founder says, I'm convinced Xbox will bring something new, but will it be great? That's another question. Yeah, Jay Fonz, I would agree with that. I could see them bringing something new, but the question is, will it be great? Their exclusive stuff this year has been a little lackluster. And it's funny. You know what kills me is that I don't want to name any names, but someone out there recently said, "Oh, well, the media and the community didn't give Sea of Thieves a chance to be good." No, no, it just wasn't a great game. And good and great games receive good and great attention. That's just how the way things work. So it's not the media's fault or the community's fault. It's the game's fault. There's good games, there's bad games, there's mediocre games, there's masterpieces. So I don't know what to tell these people that think like this. The dude says, "Why the hell did my iPhone spell slutty?" I don't know, man. I don't know why your iPhone spelled slutty. The dude. Who said Far Cry sucks? Oh, yeah. Well, that's his opinion. See, Jay Fonzarelli, the gentleman that said Sea of Thieves is the game of the generation is also one that's crying now, saying that the game is broken and that cheaters have ruined it. By the way, Microsoft, address crossplay. Address crossplay. Eric what's up? We got Eric Jackson in the live chat. He says Sea of Thieves 2 is going to be popping. The dude says Far Cry 5 does not suck. No, I have talked to several people who played it. The game does not sound like it sucks by any stretch of the imagination. But Jay Fonz, but the guy who said Sea of Thieves was again the game of the console gen. Yeah, he probably thinks the Big Macs are the the epitome of hamburgers. So anyhow, Speaks to one's taste, I suppose. But um, Eric's being sad. Eric, come on, man. Eric said full crack and support and Sea of Thieves too. Come on, man. Don't do that. You're gonna get some people upset, man. Jay Fonz, I've been meaning to ask you about that, man. It sounds like you and Colt Eastwood and Dealer Gaming had a good time, man, on Far Cry 5. That's awesome. I don't have the game yet, Jay Fonz. I want to pick it up, but with God of War coming out and playing Bloodborne, I'm just dude, I'm just backlogged, man. My backlog is real. It's real out here. You're not playing, man. You know what you're saying. You feel that way. Release the Kraken. And guys, I gotta be honest with you, I'm not overly impressed or excited about the roadmap that Rare laid out for Sea of Thieves. And I gotta tell you, this I don't think this was the game that Rare should have made. I know it's not the same Rare, but damn, I mean, I really want to see this game do well because it's Rare. Rare is such a story developer. I want to see them put out some really great content. I really do, and I really hope that this game works out for them. Because it'd be a damn shame if it didn't. It really would. Oh wow, Top Dogs. He thinks Yakuza 6 over God of War. Okay, I hear that, man. Top Dog says daily reminder: Kairu Kazuma is better father than Kratos. That's actually pretty funny, man. That's too funny. That is too funny. Hey, by the way, guys, if you guys own a PlayStation 4, haven't played The Last of Us remaster, I think you can buy it for $8 now on the Sony store, if I'm not mistaken. I think from now until Monday morning or something. Envy says Rare hasn't been the same since MS bought them for Nintendo. I don't necessarily agree with that, Envy. I think they haven't been the same since the Microsoft. It's really since after the 360. And when Microsoft started putting them on, well, I should say during the 360, when Microsoft decided to put them on the Kinect, they haven't been the same since. Cameo was a really good game. Viva Pinata was a lot of fun. They put out some good games for the OG Xbox and the 360. Jay Fon says, I'm not a huge fan of Rare games. You're a gaming fraud, Jay Fons, if you're not a Rare fan. Chris, go for the platinum in Last of Us, man. Do it. Top Dog's really going in on Kratos as a father figure. That's hilarious. Eric Jackson says, I'm just saying dudes brag on all the Microsoft money like a scrub that hangs with NBA players, but they couldn't render a full Kraken. That's savage, man. Come on, you got to stop saying stuff like that, man. People are going to get upset. They're going to get their feelings hurt. I already know people are gonna be like, "Oh, he's out there bashing Microsoft. He's out there bashing Xbox." No, look, guys, you know what? I own an Xbox One X. I love the way multiplats look on it. But at the end of the day, I'm also a consumer, and I'm gonna call bullshit when I see bullshit. I'm gonna call out, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo when I feel like they're not providing me the kind of gaming experiences I want or the types of services I want. I have no problem doing that. Trust me. If you guys have, for those of you who've been listening to BRAP for a long time, we have no problem calling these companies out because, look, these companies aren't, I'm not on anyone's payroll. Hey, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, if you want to put me on payroll, by all means do it. I will sing your praise for a nice paycheck. Jay Fondrelli says, I love GoldenEye and like a couple other Rare games, but they're a lot of stinkers, in my opinion. Yeah, Top Dog. It's funny, man. You mentioned Yakuza 6 coming on God of War. Yakuza 6, another exclusive. Another exclusive. But see, like this is what I'm saying. Like this is the kind of stuff that people remember about. Like if you go, like for me at least, like when I go back and look at my gaming history and all the consoles I've owned, most of the times I'm not going back and saying, "Oh my god, like the Madden 2005 was amazing," or NFL 2K was amazing, or any third party game. Yeah, they're rarity. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I mean, there's some third party stuff that was really good, like Grand Theft Auto 4, Grand Theft Auto 3 back in the days. I shouldn't say that. It's mostly my memories are mostly remembering first, second party exclusives. Now there's some third party stuff that came out that I remembered. However, if I look back at like a lot of the consoles that I own, most of the games that I remember were the exclusive ones. You know, if I go back to, if I go back to the OG Xbox, I remember Ninja Gaiden. I remember Jet Set Radio Future. I remember Panzer Dragoon Orta. I remember Mech Assault. I think I said Halo already. I remember Conquer, but because those were exclusive games, those games stood out to me. If I go back to the PlayStation 3, I'm going to remember the Uncharted franchise, The Last of Us. Again, exclusive games that I can point to, that I remember, that stay with me. This console generation, the best gaming experiences that I've had have been on the PlayStation 4, Bloodborne more recently, Persona 5, Horizon Zero Dawn. Again, these are games that I'm going to remember. And I would probably venture to say that a lot of you in the live chat are going to remember. You guys are probably not going to remember, Battlefront per se, or you might. But if I'm a betting man, I'm willing to bet that you guys are going to remember the exclusive games that were bangers that you guys played um, on consoles. Jay Fonzarelli says, I haven't had a memorable game yet this gen. Jay, I don't know, man. Man, the bar must be really high with you, my friend, man. I can point to The Witcher 3, Persona 5, Horizon Zero Dawn, Yakuza 0, shit, The Last of Us Remastered. God, what else am I missing? Did I say Bloodborne already? I may have. Yeah, J Fonz. The problem is, J Fonz, you compare everything to Red Dead Redemption. I'm just joking, man. I'm joking. But hell of a game, though, man. Hell of a game. Yeah, I'm excited for Shenmue 1 and 2 coming out. Glad it's coming out on all the consoles. That's awesome. All right, you guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this podcast because I want to go play some Bloodborne and drink a couple cold ones. But look, guys, I just wanted to make this quick, do this quick BRAP rant because one, I'm getting tired of the damage controlling. And two, look, guys, it's okay to hold these companies accountable. It's okay to want more. Like this whole idea that wanting more is somehow bad. That if you're unhappy, just sell your console. No, bullshit. If I'm unhappy, I'm going to voice my opinion. I'm going to voice my opinion because I've invested into this ecosystem. And if it gets to the point where they don't do it, you know what? I'm out. And you know what? There could be a time, and I'm telling you guys, of course, unless because Eric knows how I like my enhanced games. Unless Microsoft puts out like the Beast console again, then I may get one because I want to play those Beast multiplats. But there could be a time where I say, you know what, enough. I'm done. I'm getting what I want from Nintendo and PlayStation, and just stay there. That could be a real thing. And there's nothing wrong if that happens. So, big shout out to everyone in the live chat again. By the way, great. Great live chat as always. Had Jay Fonzarelli in the house, Eric Jackson, Chris Kobo Elite, Envy of Astora, Top Dog. Luca was in the house, Ryan Landis, Black Metal Gamer. What's going on, man? Um, Anyone else I missed in the chat? Thank you for coming by and just hanging out, listen to me rant. Guys, we have 39 people watching. We got 22 likes. Let's get those likes up to like 40 or 39. Let's do that real quick before we get out of here. Let's do it now. No one's doing it. God damn it. Oh, we got 23. Come on, people. Don't leave your share. We're not wrapping up the show. We gotta get those likes up. Chris Jones, I'm not giving up on Xbox just yet. That's not I'm not doing that just yet. I got too much invested right now. Damn, E, why'd you hit the dislike button, man? Big shout out to Saltiest Gaming, who's in the house, and Irrelevant Native, and Punk Kiddish, DMV Gaming. Yeah. Again, guys, I just want to reiterate, and I hate that I have to do this, but look, this isn't a bash against trying to trash Microsoft. Hey, if you're happy, you feel like they don't have any issues. Hey, that's your thing. More power to you. But we can all. Eric says, "Because I'm triggered, son." You crazy man. Look, we can all have we can all have a difference of opinions, and it's fine. We all can. It doesn't mean uh, that we're right or that someone has to be right, someone has to be wrong. It's our opinions, and we can have civil discord over it. That's unfortunately that's missing at times, but that's what this rant's about. It's just about you know, uh, just giving you my opinion, my thoughts on what I want to see from Microsoft, and I think look, God of War just really just more than I think ever, really just opened up my mind even more to probably something I thought I had initially thought anyway that Microsoft has a severe deficiency when it comes to really quality first party stuff. So and let's hope they fix it. I mean, everybody should want Microsoft to be the best they can be because at the end of the day, we all benefit as gamers. We do. That's all we really do. So all right, everyone. We are up to 27 likes. So thank you again. Again, big shout out to everyone in the live chat. We'll be back Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with our regularly scheduled podcast. I'm not sure if we'll have any special guests on. We had, um, I don't know if we'll have any special guests on this week or not, but we'll see. We'll see. The dude, we got to get you on, BRAP, man. Had Frankie on, but we got to get you on sometime, man. So, on that note, everyone have a great Saturday night. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Remember, gamers to game on, but more importantly, have fun doing so because that's what gaming is all about. It's all about having fun. Chris Jones, look, man, you got to stop trolling, dude. You got to find something better to do with your life, buddy. I've seen you in other podcasts trolling, man. You got to get outside, maybe kick a soccer ball or do something, play some games. I don't know. On that note, everyone, I am out. Eric Jackson, you were a fool, but you're my man. I like you. You're my boy, blah, blah, blah. Have a great night, everyone. We'll catch you next time. And who knows, if some crazy shit happens tomorrow, I may drop another rant because that tends to happen sometimes too. Peace.